Welcome to Whispering Pines Shetland Sheep Farm. Our flock is known for their soft, crimpy, fine wool, produced solely for hand spinners to enjoy. Today we're at the skirting table, preparing another fleece for our annual fleece auction. This video will give you a hands-on look at every possible aspect of the fleeces I am offering in this year's auction. I'll be talking about the quality of the fleece, my recommendations for processing the wool, and I'll share some information about the ewe that donated this lovely fleece. I hope you enjoy today's skirting video. I'm here in the back of the barn skirting our soft Shetland fleeces for my upcoming fleece auction. In this video I'm skirting Alice Paul's fleece. So, a couple things. I haven't said this in a while, but skirting, what is that? Skirting is where you lay out a fleece and you remove all the dirty, soiled wool around the perimeter, the outer edges of the fleece. And the reason you do that, for me as a farmer that's selling my fleeces, is my hand spinners don't want to purchase wool that's really dirty or caked with poo or super short, which normally around the edges you get the shorter bits, because they're paying for the wool by the ounce and they don't want to be paying for stuff they can't use. So that is why I skirt my fleeces. When I am skirting for myself, if I'm skirting a fleece that I'm going to spin, I keep a lot more wool on the fleece than if I'm going to be selling it. So if you have a sheep and you're skirting, I think you're more likely to skirt very carefully and not as aggressively, because here's how I feel. It's my sheep and I want to spin as much for fiber as I can, and I don't really care about the waste because I'm always going to get more wool. So kind of a luxurious attitude, but that's the way I feel. But for these fleeces that are going in the auction, and Alice Paul's definitely a candidate for the auction, I can already tell just by this quick survey I'm doing here where I'm spreading the fleece out, that we're going to skirt her with abandon. And there's two times I go around twice. The first time I go around, I'm going to be pulling short loose bits that I don't want going into my comb top, and these short loose bits are going to go into a product that's a soil amendment. There's a local mill. She bought equipment to be able to make these soil amendment pellets. I'm going to sell them in my booth in little bags. And it's just another cool use for wool. We're always looking for different applications and ways that wool can really shine. You can use its properties for good. So this little handful of wool here is just all real short pieces. The second time I go around, I'm going to be skirting for wool that's going to go into my comb top. And comb top is my mill processed fiber that hand spinners will spin. I'm going to skirt this piece of neck wool here from Alice Paul because it's just impregnated with hay. Really not going to turn into comb top, even good comb top. So that'll go into my soil amendment. The way I've got the fleece laid out here is standard, how I'm laying out every fleece I'm taking photos of and putting in my auction. The breech is the two back legs, goes here. Here's her back. These are the two sides, and that is her neck wool. I'm going to put this in my soil amendment bag where I'm collecting that wool. I was going back and second guessing some decisions I made yesterday about wool that was going to go into the soil amendment, but it was a good decision. Good call. Past gen did good. the Jen of the past. Okay, now I'm gonna circle back around and skirt for wool that's gonna go into the comb top. Alice Paul is a fawn katmoget with spots on her face. Doesn't really have a spotted body. Very sweet temperament. She is Mimi's mother, and Mimi is easily my sweetest, darlingest, most Labrador retriever-like sheep I have in the flock. She loves everybody. I want to point out one thing. I think I said this in my video I did of skirting Lucretia's fleece, which I then realized I never recorded, which was an accident. Sometimes I just forget to push the button. It's my fawn comb top. So one thing I want to point out is how I skirt. So I try to avoid like pulling and teasing out all the locks as I'm skirting. I put a lot of effort. I'll show you let me get myself over to that camera there, and so I can show you kind of close up what I do. When I'm coming around here, I'm doing the comb top wool. So this is anything that's going to be left is wool that was under the coat that is still really clean. So the way I try to skirt is I try to find spaces where there's already a good break, and then I grab either side and pull to make a nice clean break so that it's not all loose and teased out. So I'll show you what I mean. Like this is wool that's going into comb top, so it doesn't matter. I don't want to pull the wool apart like this. And the reason is a lot of my spinners that are buying these fleeces, are using combs or flicking. And so the lock structure is pretty important to them because they want to peel off locks as they're working. So I just wanted to point that out. I want to point out something else. And this could be my personal pet peeve. And I would love to hear, I'd love to know what other producers, how they feel about it, and then just what other spinners think. When I put a fleece out on display, and somebody comes in, again, I'll do that on the neck wool, but pretend it's the good wool, and somebody comes to the booth or whatever, let me get myself so I'm in the shot here so you can see the extent of my ire. But when they come into the booth and they take a fleece out of a bag, it's a fleece I want to sell, and they go like this with it when they're looking at it, separating. What the heck? Don't do that. You can look at it. You can ask, may I pull out a lock to do an inspection? But they're not there for you to pull apart. They're there. Oh my God, I can't even talk right now. That just really annoys me. So I'm really curious to know, is that just me, or is that something that's like a real well-known no-no faux pas that you should not do? All right, enough of that. Now I'm going to be working my way up around here. All right, so Alice Paul, oh, for heaven's sakes. I'll come amongst yourselves for a second. I forgot to make up my card. Alice Paul is a 6-year-old ewe. She was born in 2020, which is the year I used the 19th Amendment people as my naming convention. So if you look up Alice Paul, she was kind of a big deal right there up at the end. I think she was the one. It was either her or Lucy, which I had a Lucy in my flock as well, that was in prison in a hunger strike when they actually signed the amendment. But she was started out in the flock in that group of lambs as one of my most friendly, and I'm going to put a link here to a few videos. Actually, 2020 is when I got let go from work, where I was working as a middle manager in a pretty big company. And then decided to go full-time into this. So the lambs that we had that year, I spent a lot of time with. And she was one of the, I don't know, she was just really sweet and really friendly. And that was also the COVID year, 2020. So yeah, so we were home and spending a lot of time with them. That's when I first started this YouTube channel. In earnest, I started making actual videos for consumption. So, and that's the story of the channel, isn't it? It's the story about a lady that was succeeding in the business world but wanted something more, because I'm not going to lie, I am very happy with my life right now. So that's the movie. All right, so we're going to take a picture of the back of Alice Paul's fleece first. And this is going to go in the listing for the website, for the auction. So you have all the photographs if you don't feel like watching the video, which I get, because these videos keep on turning out to be sort of long. So we're going to put the card here next to sort of where we take the sample from and get that picture, so you get a beautiful shot of her locks as they are on the fleece. So the channel, actually, speaking of the channel, recently hit a milestone of 4,000 subscribers, which I was really happy about. I know that's not an enormous number, but my subscribers are pretty epic. So I really appreciate everybody that has clicked the subscribe button and joined the channel on this journey. So it's sort of a big deal. It's a big deal to me. All right, so we're going to take a lock. Very nice, very pretty, Miss Alice Paul. So she's a 3-inch lock. I'll put that against the black paper so you can see it better in the photograph. I'm going to remove my hand from the lens of the camera. So it is just before 7, and normally at 7 is when the ewes decide that it's time to come in and go to bed. It's also the time when I decide it's time for them to come in and go to bed, so normally when I'm not making these videos, I'm out chasing them in. But that's why they're not here with me today for this video, but I'm sure they'll be back. They'll be in here shortly. So that's a 3-inch staple on Alice Paul. She's a fawn katmoget, so there's going to be a little bit of variation in color. We'll see it when we flip the fleece over to look at the shearing quality. I sheared her. Honestly, I don't think I had ever rued Alice Paul. I think she's always been one that I shear, because as I do my test in the spring, when I'm changing the coats and taking the samples, that's when I make the note on the spreadsheet that I'll print out. Or my helper will note it for me that I want to rue or shear somebody. And that's how I know. And I try to select half to rue, because that's a pretty good number. Maybe it's a lot. I feel like this year I've been kind of overwhelmed with everything, trying to get the ruing done, but it has a lot to do with the fact that I have a grandson now who I really enjoy spending time with. Go figure. We're going up there this weekend, in fact. So, but that kind of stuff was never happening before, so it's kind of detracts from my routine. I'm rambling here, sorry about that. Flipping this over really kind of pulled everything apart. So not a dense fleece. It's not compact and being held together. It's really well, which I don't really understand what happened there. But anyways, it's still good quality. The shearing quality looks really good. Just little bits of stuff that's maybe was in the bag. I'm going to pull this lock off because Alice Paul really didn't have a long fleece last year. So this lock I just pulled off is a little bit under 3. So maybe like 2 to 3 inches is what I'll put in my listing, because it's kind of a difference. It's kind of a big difference. I'm going to put 2 to 3 inches in the listing. I can't remember if I already took a picture, so we're going to take another one. As I'm editing these videos, I'm sort of enjoying these shots because you can sort of see all the ancillary stuff that goes into making these videos and collecting the data and stuff like that. Okay, so this one is ready to get rolled up. Oh, as far as how I would process this fleece, I would wash it and flick it. I don't think I gave you the micron data yet. What's wrong with me today? Her micron, her spinning fineness is 23.8, but the handle is a lot, it's a very soft fleece. It's, you know, I think probably her micron is close to what Audi's was, but this fleece handles a lot more. Just feels a lot softer. My dear Alice Paul. It's very windy out, very gusty today. We are probably due for a really good rainstorm. Okay, so I'm going to weigh this fleece. Beautiful fawn katmoget fleece. Very light colored. She's not a taupey fawn. She's a very, almost a white oatmeal type of fawn. That's just the way it is. Some katmogets are different shades. Same thing with grays. I've got very, very light gray katmogets and then very dark charcoal. 25.84. So these cards I'm going to give to my sister Connie. She's my bookkeeper. She does all my paperwork for me, and she's going to put these into the website and then turn them on. We'll turn it all on at once. We can't turn them on gradually, unfortunately, because of a few reasons that aren't very interesting. But anyways, I have to get them all ready and then put them all up at once. So she's doing all that for me so that I can focus on characterizing these fleeces for you guys and giving you all the data, all the information, hands-on, being able to see it all, which I think is really important. All right, so that's everything I want to tell you about Alice Paul's fleece this year. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you can come back soon. If you do, you're going to see me skirting a lot more fleeces because I got quite a few more to go. Thank you for spending some time with me at the skirting table. If this fleece spoke to you, and if you want to be notified when the fleeces are available for viewing on the website, scan this QR code to be taken to my mailing list sign-up form on the website. Or scroll down to the description of this video for a link to the sign-up form on my website. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you can come back soon.